That some achieve great success is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. Abraham Lincoln. And my friends, you too can achieve success in the stock market by learning how to chart. Charting, another name for it is technical analysis as opposed to fundamental analysis. We here at Charting Wealth are all about fundamental analysis, but like anything, why not buy something when it's on sale and sell it at the peak? Okay, we're not talking about doing anything other than using charting patterns, using the ebb and flows in the market, many times of fear and greed, big waves of energy, or when the energy is bleeding off as the market, as we saw happen back in the COVID crash. We saw weeks of downward movement. Then following that, we had a weekly vertical crossover there in early May, and we saw the market slam up as far as stocks go. What have we seen recently with gold? We've seen gold peak back when they told you it was going to go up to $15,000 an ounce and move from somewhere in the neighborhood of $188, a high of 194.45. Now remember, GLD is a tenth of the price of gold. That's what it's allegedly triggered at or set at. So in other words, almost $2,000 an ounce. It has then gone down to a low, and the low so far this week since that, of $166.03. So again, $1,660, something like that. So we're talking $400 or so off the price. So that wasn't so hard to see if you could read a stock chart. That's what we're talking about, my friends. All we ask from you, 10 to 15 minutes a day, each and every day, Patreon members. We appreciate everyone who joined us today on the live call-in. For those who weren't able, check your emails. We sent you a recording of the live Patreon Q&A, answered your questions, went over a bunch of stocks, talked about a lot of things that should help you immensely in your practice trading. Remember, we're an education firm. We're not a stock calling service. Let's jump into these charts. We see the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 up today. Not a lot, 0.21% for the S&P, 0.13% for the Nasdaq 100. But what do we see happening? We are moving up higher. That is good to see. A nice green up candle moving up. Price percent oscillator pulling away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. Prices above the 2-day and the weekly. Go to the 2-day. What do we see there? Moving right up as it is supposed to. Now, it was Wednesday, so this is the first day of the latest 2-day candle. Let's check it out. The high was 166.96. Prior 2-day candle, 167.68. So again, not quite hitting as high as the prior candle did. We'll see as we continue to move forward if we can reach a higher high. Consequently, that derivative oscillator is losing some momentum. Price percent oscillator still heading up, lost a little bit of momentum. Things are moving in the right direction. Look at the half-day chart. What do we see there? It's where we see where things bounced up strong on Tuesday morning rather, and then sort of, lackadaisical throughout the course of the rest of the day. So we'll continue to watch that, see how things move. Price percent oscillators just over the red signal line, derivative oscillator gaining momentum. So keep your eye on the prize. We'll see. Remember, all things being equal, the market tends to move in the direction of the largest chart, which is the weekly. And we're glad to be out of this crazy October zone where right at the end of September down and then up and then down, and we hate that. The problem is when you don't have and I spoke about this today for the Patreon members, when you don't have a trending market, guess what happens to indicators that follow trends? Well, they don't work that well. The oscillation gets screwed up, and if we don't have a trending market, price percent oscillator and the derivative oscillator aren't going to deliver a lot for us. So we want things to be moving. That's why we hate the summertime trading zone so much. All traders do, typically, not this year, but typically, because there's a lot of volume out of the market and it gets sloppy and it moves sideways and there's not a lot of volume and it's up and down and all around and you don't have a trend. The trend is your friend until the end. Let's move from the S&P 500 to the Nasdaq 100. Are we going to have a weekly vertical crossover at the end of the week? Let's hope we do. We can see that we're moving to higher highs. Nice to see on the Nasdaq. We need more movement for that weekly vertical crossover to be a nice, strong one for us. We want to see that. Derivative oscillators going positive. What about the 2-day chart? First day of the latest 2-day candle. Not reaching a higher high either, but again, moving up the trend line, which is good. Derivative oscillator getting a little momentum. Price percent oscillator losing a little, but still moving up. Okay, let's keep moving through. We're at the half-day chart. See some weakness in the morning, some upward movement in the afternoon, but not reaching the high in the prior afternoon. Consequently, price percent oscillator losing a little momentum, as is the derivative oscillator, both in the morning and afternoons. Keep your eye on things. Let's see how this week continues. We still have Thursday and Friday. Bonds, with stocks up, bonds are down 0.79%. We see the price percent oscillator is, again, moving away from the red signal line ever so slightly. Derivative oscillator flat on the weekly chart. Red spinning top with a long wick on the bottom. Again, we'll continue to watch and see how things go. But we've been in a negative trend for many, many weeks with bonds. We'll see how that continues. Are we going to end up, we told you to watch for this, with a crossover going down when this candle closes? It'll be a 2-day recross potentially. Have you gone back and backtracked that and seen how accurate that 2-day recross is and how well it would work for you? Hope you've done that. That's what backtracking is all about. Patreon members, I put a special video in your email today on the backtracking training. Please watch that. And also, everyone who is a subscriber, we've got a great training for you today. Beware of confirmation bias. Check that out. It's in your show notes. If you're not a subscriber, go to chartingwealth.com, sign up for free. That list is never spammed, never shared. Now we see the derivative oscillator losing momentum, price percent oscillator headed down. What do you do tomorrow? Well, around 3:50 p.m., you check to see if this will close crossing over going down. And if you confirmed with yourself, and again, this is all about you doing the work. If you think you're going to tune into channels across the web and people are going to give you hot tips on how to successfully practice trade just because they're good folks and they're going to tell, my friends, you got to do the work. Whether it's the ETFs that we follow or it's stocks that you have picked out, you've backtracked, you've made sure the weekly vertical crossovers work, the 2-day recrosses work, so you feel comfortable. You've gotten intimate with those stocks. You filled out your daily market worksheet, weekly market worksheet, trade worksheet. At the end of this video, they're training us on how to use all of those. Those supercharge your training because they help you put pen to paper, follow intimately what's going on with your favorite stock or ETF, and learn how to track and trade them. Practice trade them costs you nothing. So if you have a 2-day recross, that means the 2-day crossing over going in the same down direction at this time of the weekly, there might be a jumping in point for you close to the end of the day tomorrow. There might not be. See if there is. Practice trade it if you feel comfortable doing so. Now, you have to have a good reason for it. But again, see if you can establish that. Lastly, we look at that beautiful stair step going down. We see things just continuing to move down so nicely, stacking up pretty well. So again, 2 days of strong down movement. Let's see if that continues enough to have that 2-day recross. We shall wait and see. Lastly, we go to gold. Gold up again today. Again, gold still in a confirmed down move, but that weekly, which was heading down stronger, has pulled up a little bit. Derivative oscillator still heading down, still have a down candle, still has hit a lower low this week. We'll continue to watch gold, see what's happening. Pay attention to that 2-day chart. We see that this is the first green up candle we have seen in many days. Now again, it's not finished drawing. If gold drops off the deep end tomorrow, that could very well turn red. Right now it's a green open box candle, but we saw a potential warning sign when we saw the solid green. That means a slowdown in the go down, as we sometimes say. That was a warning to you. And we've seen now some up movement. Price percent oscillator is a little more than flat. Derivative oscillator losing downward momentum. Go to the half day. We can see that that crossed over at the end of the day on Tuesday further up. So we've got 2 days of up movement on gold. So we'll continue to track, pay attention. Those of you see me redrawing trend lines as we move through, that's important for you to do. You want to connect at least 3 candles if possible. The more candles you can connect, the more of a trend, solid trend you see, the more helpful it can be to you. We look for violations in trend lines. We look for crossovers, whether it's the half day, it's the 2 day, or the weekly. All of those things help us see the wave and figure out the power or the weakening, the strengthening or the weakening of the wave. That is the wave of price movement, because that's the only thing that matters. Price. It goes up, down, or sideways. That's what the key to doing this is all about. And if you'll stay with us 10 to 15 minutes every day, you will eventually learn this. And again, how long are you going to do this? The rest of your life while your mind still works. If you commit yourself to that, my friends, you will succeed. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. Buy our book. See the link in the show notes. Become a Patreon supporter. First thing you'll get is the 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way, at any 3 of our support levels. God bless you.